All right, buckle up, everyone, because today we're diving deep into Albatross.
Ooh, this one's a wild ride, right?
Totally. I mean, where else are you going to find Ayn Rand sharing the stage with Carl Jung?
In a play that also blends sci-fi and philosophy, no less.
It's like the playwright took all these big ideas and threw them in a blender.
And out came this thought-provoking, genre-bending masterpiece.
But let's back up a sec for anyone who's not familiar with the play.
Good point.
So Albatross, it's a play, but it's also got these screen projections, stage directions that play with time and perception.
It really pushes the boundaries of traditional theater.
And at its heart, there's this story about this guy, the old man,
Yeah, he's like at a crossroads in his life.
haunted by regrets,
He keeps imagining this hero version of himself.
like the path not taken.
Exactly. The life he could have lived if he'd made different choices.
So he's wrestling with those what ifs.
But it's not just personal choices. There's this sense of being trapped by societal expectations.
Oh yeah, those unspoken rules we all feel pressure to follow.
And his longing for freedom, it's so intense that he wants to become an albatross.
An albatross.
Yeah.
Like the bird.
Yep, it becomes this recurring symbol of escape throughout the play.
That makes sense. Albatrosses are these powerful soaring creatures.
They represent this freedom that the old man desperately craves.
I feel like everyone can relate to that on some level, that desire to break free.
Absolutely. And the play explores that theme in so many different ways.
So we've got the old man grappling with freedom, but there's also this character, Ronan.
Oh yeah, Ronan's a fascinating one.
He seems to have taken Ayn Rand's philosophy of individualism to heart,
And then some.
especially when it comes to his relationship with Belle.
It's a tragic love affair fueled by his need for independence.
Okay, so for those who aren't philosophy buffs, can we break down Ayn Rand's ideas a bit?
Sure thing. Ayn Rand was all about egoism.
But not egoism in a bad way, right?
Right, more like focusing on your own happiness and fulfillment.
So prioritize yourself, but not be a jerk about it.
Exactly. It's about pursuing your own goals and values without sacrificing your integrity.
So Ronan embodies this philosophy, but it seems to backfire in his relationship.
He ends up isolating himself, leading to heartbreak and tragedy.
Wow, so the play is showing us different sides of freedom, not just from society, but also within relationships.
And then there's this whole concept of emotional time that Ronan talks about.
Emotional time. That sounds intriguing.
It's this idea that our perception of time is influenced by our emotions.
Okay, I can see that. Like when you're having fun, time flies.
Exactly. And when you're anxious or bored, it drags on forever.
It's like time is subjective, not this fixed linear thing.
And the play really makes you think about those different experiences of time.
So we've got the old man, we've got Ronan. Who else do we meet in this play?
Well, hold on to your hats because now Carl Jung enters the scene.
Wait, Carl Jung, like the famous psychologist.
The one and only. He literally appears as a character in the play.
No way. That's so meta.
He brings his insights on relationships to the table.
Especially the male-female dynamic.
He digs into how societal expectations impact us, particularly women.
And he even shares this anecdote about Sigmund Freud.
Which is pretty cool because it humanizes these big names.
So the play's giving us a crash course in psychology alongside all these other big themes.
And just when you think it can't get any weirder, we meet the Siamen.
The Siamen. Who's that?
It's this enigmatic character who pops up throughout the play.
Like a mystical guide.
Kind of, but they're more like a commentator.
So what do they talk about?
Their pronouncements are pretty cryptic, to be honest.
Give me an example.
They talk about mankind's impotence, the mathematical impossibility of a couple.
Whoa, okay, that's pretty deep.
And they even describe humans as birds scared of heights.
So they're pointing out our limitations, our fears.
It's like they're foreshadowing something, maybe a reckoning for humanity.
Okay, things are getting intense. We've got freedom, relationships, societal pressures, and now this sense of impending doom.
Buckle up because we're just getting started.
I'm ready. What happens next?
Well, now we get into the nitty-gritty of relationships with Sandra and Marcello.
Oh, tell me they're not another couple in trouble.
Afraid so. Their marriage is on the rocks.
What's going on with them?
They're struggling to balance their individual needs with societal expectations.
I feel like that's a relatable struggle for a lot of people.
Totally. And the play captures that tension so well.
So it's not just about romantic love, it's about how society shapes our relationship.
Exactly. It's like these external forces are constantly influencing our most intimate connections.
And then we see the hero again, but this time he's trying to create a registrar of happy couples.
Like he's trying to find a formula for successful relationships.
So he's trying to fix the very problems that Sandra and Marcello are facing.
But guess what? His initiative fails.
Oh, no. What does that tell us?
It suggests that there's no easy answer, no magic bullet for happiness.
Especially within the confines of societal norms, right?
Exactly. The play challenges this idea of a happily ever after.
It's like it's saying that true happiness might require us to step outside the box.
And speaking of outside the box, now we meet the Montauk.
The Montauk, who are they?
They seem to represent an alternative way of living.
Like a different society with different rules?
Yeah, they operate outside the norms of the world we've seen so far.
So they could hold the key to understanding true freedom.
Maybe, but the play keeps their beliefs and practices pretty mysterious.
It's like a glimpse into another world, another possibility.
And just when you think you've seen it all, we meet Esther.
Esther, tell me she's a strong female character.
Oh, absolutely. She brings a fiery feminist perspective to the play.
I was hoping for some strong female energy. What's her story?
She's angry about male dominance and the limitations placed on women.
It sounds like she's challenging the patriarchy.
And her anger stems from a traumatic experience.
Oh no, what happened?
She reveals that she was assaulted, and it shaped her whole worldview.
That's so heartbreaking and unfortunately all too real.
It adds this layer of depth and complexity to the play's exploration of gender dynamics.
It's like it's forcing us to confront the real-world consequences of these power imbalances.
And this leads to a fascinating discussion about the male gaze.
Oh yeah, that's a hot topic. How does that come up?
Ronan defends Playboy as art, which sparks a debate with Sandra, who's disgusted by pornography.
So it's a clash of perspectives on sexuality and objectification.
Exactly. It's like the play is holding up a mirror to our own cultural anxieties.
It's making us question how society shapes our views on these issues.
And just when you think you've wrapped your head around it all, we get a major plot twist.
Okay, lay it on me. What's the twist?
We find out that humanity is part of a grand experiment orchestrated by these advanced beings.
We what? Like we're lab rats?
Kind of. It's like the Truman Show meets the Matrix.
Hold on, I need a minute to process this.
It's a lot to take in, right? Suddenly, everything we thought we knew about human history is called into question.
So all our struggles, our triumphs, it's all been part of someone else's experiment.
And that's where we'll leave it for now.
Oh no. Don't leave me hanging. What happens next?
You'll have to tune in to part 2 of our deep dive to find out.
All right, fine, but I'm on the edge of my seat now.
Trust me, it's worth the wait.
All right, so last time on our deep dive into Albatross, our minds were pretty much blown.
Yeah, that whole humanity as a science experiment thing, it kind of throws a wrench in everything.
Total curveball. But it also raises a ton of questions.
Like, who are these beings, Guth and Luther, who think they can play God with humanity?
And what are they trying to achieve with this whole experiment?
Well, that's where we pick up the story.
Okay, lay it on me.
Guth and Luther, they're reflecting on all their past attempts to guide humanity.
So it's not their first rodeo.
Not even close. They've tried creating paradise, sending prophets, you name it.
But nothing seems to work.
Nope, humanity keeps screwing things up.
So what's their solution this time?
A gas that eliminates people prone to violence.
Wait, what? That's pretty intense.
It's a radical solution for sure.
But also kind of terrifying, right? Imagine people just vanishing into thin air.
The play paints a very vivid picture of that.
I get chills just thinking about it.
It makes you question the ethics of such a drastic intervention.
Would we even consider such a thing if it meant ending violence?
That's the kind of moral dilemma Albatross throws at you.
Heavy stuff. But I guess that's the point, right? To make us think.
Exactly. It's not just entertainment. It's a philosophical exploration.
And these guys, Guth and Luther, they seem to have different views on how to fix humanity.
Guth believes in knowledge and understanding, while Luther thinks the problem is in our genes.
Nature versus nurture, huh? It's a debate that's been going on forever.
And it's interesting because they're using their own civilization's history as a reference point.
So they've dealt with similar issues.
Apparently, they even resorted to genetic modification to eliminate violence in their own species.
Wow, that's a sobering thought. Like, maybe violence is just an inevitable part of intelligent life.
It's a chilling possibility that the play doesn't shy away from me.
So now they're proposing to genetically engineer us into a more peaceful species.
It's their big plan to solve humanity's problems.
But what about the potential downsides? Messing with our genes, it seems like there could be unintended consequences.
The play acknowledges those concerns, for sure.
Like, are we even human anymore if our very nature is altered?
It's a question that gets to the heart of what it means to be human.
So the gas is out there, people are vanishing. What happens next?
Well, the focus shifts to relationships.
Relationships, how does that fit into the whole genetic engineering thing?
Guth and Luther believe that if we can't fix the couple, we can't fix society.
Interesting. So the couple is like a microcosm of humanity's problems.
Exactly. They see it as the fundamental building block of society.
Okay, I'm starting to see the connection.
And this is where Esther's story becomes even more relevant.
Her anger at male dominance.
Yes. It highlights the power imbalances that Guth and Luther are trying to understand.
Like they're trying to figure out why men and women can't seem to get along.
And it's not just Esther. Remember Ronan's whole Ayn Rand thing?
Oh yeah, his obsession with individualism.
Well, even he starts to question his views after hearing Esther's story.
So the play is challenging all these different perspectives on gender and relationships.
It's forcing us to confront some uncomfortable truths.
And Margot, Ayn Rand's alter ego, she chimes in too, right?
Yep. She has this beautiful analogy about men and women being points on a circumference.
Points on a circumference. What does that even mean?
She's saying that men and women think they have to travel the entire circle to meet.
When really they just need to turn around.
Exactly. It's about shifting perspectives, seeing each other as equals.
I love that. It's so simple yet profound.
And all of this is happening while the world outside is literally falling apart.
People are vanishing, the old order is crumbling.
It's chaos, and we get to see it all unfold through the eyes of the old man and Ayn Rand.
They're like our reporters on the ground, giving us the play-by-play.
It's a stark reminder that these aren't just abstract ideas, they have real-world consequences.
And amidst all this chaos, there are still glimmers of hope.
Like Ayn Rand, surprisingly, she seems to embrace the change.
Really? I thought she'd be all about preserving the status quo.
Nope, she sees it as a chance for a reset, a world free from the constraints of the past.
So maybe there's something good that can come out of all this destruction.
That's the question the play leaves us with.
And Guth, the scientist, he has a moment of vulnerability too, right?
Yeah, he expresses regret for destroying his own planet.
Wow. So he's carrying a lot of guilt.
It shows that even those in power are still human, capable of making mistakes.
And he has this message for the younger generation.
He urges us to approach them with compassion and understanding.
Like they're not responsible for the mistakes of the past.
It's a call for empathy and a reminder that we can learn from our mistakes.
Okay, so we've got hope, we've got despair. Where does the play go from here?
Well, the connection with the old man and Ayn Rand is suddenly lost.
Oh no. What happens?
The characters on the spaceship are alone, left to grapple with the unknown.
And then we hear it. Gunshot.
Gunshots. But I thought they eliminated violence.
Right. It's like a punch to the gut.
It suggests that something has gone wrong, their plan is unraveling.
So even with their best efforts, violence finds a way back in.
It's a terrifying thought.
And to make matters worse, the characters on the spaceship start disappearing.
One by one, just like the people on Earth.
Wait, is the gas spreading? Or is something else going on?
The play leaves us hanging on that cliffhanger.
Oh, come on. I need answers. What happens to Margot and the hero?
You'll have to tune in to part 3 of our deep dive to find out.
Last time on our deep dive into Albatross, things got real fast.
Yeah, it's like the rug was pulled out from under everyone.
Margot and the hero, they're all alone now.
Abandoned by those cosmic puppet masters, Guth and Luther.
And those gunshots echoing, it's chilling.
Like a promise broken, the dream of a peaceful world shattered.
Margot, she's pleading for Guth and Luther to come back.
But there's only silence, this deafening silence.
It's like they've been left to fend for themselves in this crazy experiment.
And the weight of humanity's fate is on their shoulders.
It's a lot for anyone to handle.
Then the hero, he has this realization, this moment of clarity.
What does he say?
He says, it's time to grow up and stop expecting someone bigger than us to save us.
Wow, that's powerful stuff. Like he's finally taking ownership.
It's a rejection of those external forces, those gods or whoever.
He's saying we have to save ourselves.
Exactly. And Margot, she seems to come to the same conclusion.
She does.
Good.
But she was so scared before.
She was. But now she's talking about love, the power of light.
Love. In the midst of all this chaos.
It's like she's found this inner strength, this resilience.
So they're choosing hope over despair.
They're choosing to believe that a better future is possible, even if they have to create it themselves.
Which is pretty amazing considering they're supposed to be the new Adam and Eve.
The progenitors of a new humanity, yeah.
But let's not forget, those gunshots, they're getting closer.
It's a constant reminder that danger is lurking.
Like maybe violence is more deeply ingrained than anyone realized.
It makes you wonder who's firing those shots.
Is it those remnants of the old power structures?
Or something else entirely, a force that wants to keep humanity trapped in its destructive cycle.
It's like a battle between hope and despair, freedom and control.
And right when the tension is at its peak, Margot and the hero make a decision.
What do?
They escape.
Escape? How?
They vanish, just like the others, leaving behind only their clothes.
Wow, that's a bold move. Like, they're not playing by anyone's rules anymore.
They're choosing freedom over captivity, even if it means facing the unknown.
And then we hear the voice of the old man.
Speaking from beyond, as if entrusting them with his own freedom.
What does he say?
Fly, thought, fly.
It's beautiful, almost poetic.
It's a passing of the torch, an invitation to soar above the chaos.
And then those final images of the albatrosses flying. So majestic.
Symbols of freedom, hope, a future that's yet to be written.
Albatross, it's a play that really makes you think, doesn't it?
It challenges your assumptions about everything, about freedom, control, even what it means to be human.
We started this deep dive with these big ideas: philosophy, psychology, sci-fi.
And it all comes together in this thought-provoking, mind-bending story.
Albatross. It's a play that stays with you long after the curtain falls.
It's a call to action, an invitation to embrace our own freedom.
To challenge the status quo, to imagine a better world.
And to remember that even in the darkest of times, hope can still take flight.
So to everyone listening, what are you waiting for? Spread your wings and fly.